Quick question about religious belief. Do you worship Ezra, and do you believe that Ezra is the son of God?
Do I believe in Ezra?
Ezra?
Yeah.
Well,
Do
who
you
says
worship
that?
Ezra?
No, not at all.
Have you ever heard of any Jew who worshipped Ezra?
No, that's not a Jewish thing at all.
Oh, the Jews say Uzayr is the son of Allah. There is no historical evidence that any Jew worshipped Uzayr. No one knows who that is. So he brought this verse up and actually cooked him because no one knows who Uzayr is. He doesn't exist. So no Jew worshipped a man named Uzayr. It's completely false, historically inaccurate.
Finish him.
Which, yeah, I agree. It's Uzayr, or it's Ezra. It can be tied to Ezra. The etymology of the word can be tied to Ezra, or we can even attribute it to Enoch. Why? Because Uzayr within the Arabic or within the Hebrew just means helper, helper of God. One is the helper of God. So now I'm going to read you from Clark's commentary. He's a Christian, so he writes over here. Clark's commentary: the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. The prophet is undoubtedly the last of the Jewish prophets. He lived after Zechariah and Haggai. For we find that in the temple, which was begun in their time, was standing complete in his. See Malachi chapter 3 verse 10. Some thought that he was the contemporary with Nehemiah. Indeed, several have supposed that Malachi is no other than Ezra, under the feigned name of the angel of the Lord, or my angel. This is Clark's commentary, a Christian commentary, who says that Ezra was connected to the angel of the Lord. Okay, so now let's read a concise encyclopedia of Islam by Gordon Newby. I'll put all these sources in the chat if you'd like to read. Okay, there seems, he says here in his book, when he's talking about the Muslims, this is by Gordon Newby. He's a secular who writes a concise encyclopedia of Islam. He says there seem to have been some Jews in pre-Islamic Arabia that equated Ezra with Enoch, and said that Enoch was assumed into heaven, stripped of his humanity, and transformed into Metatron, who in some cosmologies was the head of heavenly creatures known as the Beni Elohim. What does Beni Elohim mean, Isaac? Do you know? A literal translation of the Son of God. Ooh, so historically we did see Jews who believed in the two powers of heaven, who equated Ezra with Enoch, who said that these prophets were stripped of their humanity and ascended into the heavens and made divine, and they were known as Uzayr, or the helper of God, or a partner of God. And this is within the Talmud. This is why I asked, do you know the origins of two powers in heaven? Because this is equated in these apocryphal writings like the Book of Enoch 2 and the Book of Enoch 3. And historically, Jews did associate partners to God. Ask any Jew who actually knows their history. There was the idea of two powers in heaven, where they equated these prophets and said they were stripped of their humanity, ascended into the heavens, and made divine. So, bro, wallahi, like, you don't even know what you're talking about, okay? So if you want me to send these sources in the side chat, gladly I'll send them in the side chat.
Uzayr in the Arabic and the Quran and Ezra doesn't actually work if you look at the languages. The best explanation, which has been developed by many Western historians recently in the last few years, including Professor Gordon Newby in his book A History of Jews in Arabia, is that it's not Ezra at all. It's about Metatron. Yes, Metatron. Not the Hollywood character, but in medieval rabbinic Judaism, it was assumed in their theology that in order to preserve the absolute unqualified unity of the Godhead, you had to presuppose there was a kind of secondary emanation of God that was the conscious personal God that created the world and to whom you could pray. It's a bit like Greek philosophy with the demiurge, if you're familiar with that. It was a kind of subordinate deity, a kind of lesser Yahweh. Metatron was indeed the object of worship of many medieval Jews. Dr. Tim Winter says that at the library at Cambridge University, there's a whole treasure trove of medieval Jewish manuscripts that mainly come from Cairo that contain prayers to Metatron, petitions and prayers to Metatron.
Okay, but sorry, I don't feel very well. I have an anxiety issue